of course, the title, The Future of the Arabic Language, presupposes somehow that Arabic is in danger, right? Which I find it absolutely ridiculous, because Arabic is becoming more and more even of a dominant language. And it's not one of the endangered language. And on the contrary, the numbers of Arabic speakers are increasing, of course, all the time. And what's interesting is that also relates to the title, since this was your first question, is that back in the 13th century, the lexicographer Ibn Manzur, who wrote Lisan al-Arab, right? It's a very important Arabic dictionary of many volumes. He started with, in his introduction, saying that Arabic is in danger, right? And then he produced this huge lexicon that shows obviously that Arabic is not in danger at all. On the contrary, as Anam said, it's growing all the time. But probably the right question for me and for what I do is how to probably celebrate Arabic literature, the proper way of doing this, proper way, for example, to celebrate the Arabic heritage, or probably the future of Arabic industries, right? Yes, I am involved in publishing in many ways. I, of course, as an academic, publish books for promotion, but also things that I really want to write and spread, things that I'm passionate about. I'm also involved in the AUB University Press and in the Center for Arabic Language at NYU, in Abu Dhabi, and the Library of Arabic Literature of NYU Abu Dhabi. So I'm involved in several, if you want, projects related to publishing. Let it be publishing academic series, publishing for young readers, translations, big translation projects like the Library of Arabic Literature, but also the Kalima project of the Center for Arabic Language in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, Bilal, let me ask you. So that presupposition of the grave nature of the grave state of the Arabic language. When you go to academic conferences and when you in the media or from students, you hear this idea of, oh, or from colleagues or friends or family say, oh, Arabic is dying, or what is the future of Arabic? Two questions. One, where does that idea come from? Three questions. One, where does that idea come from? Two, how long has that idea been around? And three, what are examples of languages that are dying so that we can actually like compare what death looks like for a language?
That's a very interesting question, Mikey. The idea is very old, right? The idea is that Arabic is the language of the Quran. We have to preserve it, right? And early from the second Islamic century, you find these deviations, of course, because a lot of converts started adopting Arabic as a lingua franca, started writing in it. And of course, they're not native speakers of Arabic. Arabic will change, right? So the idea is that Arabic is the language of the Quran. We have to preserve it, right? And as Inam said, this is not the case, because language is a human being, is a living being, is a living entity that keeps changing, keeps incorporating. And you don't want to preserve it, right? It's you'll kill it this way. And Arabic will always resist this preservation, will keep changing. Now, this comes from people say, for example, okay, I'm sure some people will say, oh, you're talking about the future of the Arabic language using English. This is kind of ironic, and that's not a good future for the Arabic language, right? Knowing different languages does not affect Arabic, right? On the contrary, it actually enriches Arabic, and it enriches Arabic research. And so the danger is not these other languages that you find the Arab youth are speaking, right? It might be a dangerous thing the way Arabs look at their language, as Inam also just hinted to that, the way they look at it as an inferior language, but that's not the problem of the language, that's the problem of the Arabs themselves, right? You'll find also people saying, oh, Ammiya is invading, you know, this is also comes from the idea of preserving Arabic. They want us to speak Fusha, but then Fusha, of course, changes also all the time. We're not talking, we're talking now modern standard Arabic if we teach in a classroom, right? So also the different dialects are not a danger. as well. On the contrary, they're part of the language. It enriches it. It's different, probably registers of the language, and it shows the diversity of the Arab world as well. So I don't find this a problem. Now, the actual problem, and what I am afraid of, is that Arabic is, you find Arabs celebrating Arabic as a literary language. They say, okay, we enjoy Arabic poetry, we enjoy Arabic novels, we enjoy writing in Arabic, expressing ourselves in Arabic. But when it comes to academic writing, right, you find them actually writing in English. And that's a problem, even though they can actually express themselves academically in Arabic, but because Arabic lacks the industries that we find, for example, in the English language. We find a lack of professional publishing houses, lack of refereed journals, lack of refereed book series, for example, lack of distribution of books. You lack big projects, you lack presence in the media, probably, the different industries of gaming. You lack the grand narratives in and of the language and about the language. You lack all of this. So the problem, in my opinion, is the industries related to Arabic, but not in Arabic itself.